So let's continue our discussion. Probably you have some questions first, or I may
Yeah,
continue.
well, yeah. So I had a look at the testimonials and those kind of things. You sent some links, and I've had a look through those. And yeah, it's really just trying to get I guess a better feel of because obviously, like I said, it's an interesting system concept. I like some of the things that you're talking about. It's just trying to understand whether that's just a concept or has it been applied? Where is it working well? I mean, just trying to really understand that, if you like.
Do you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see the screen. Yep.
And it's interesting because now, look, just a few minutes ago, I decided to ask Microsoft Bing, please elaborate on subconscious training on English skills, explain its novelty and benefits. And here is the response. Subconscious training in English skills is a new pedagogy implemented on mobile devices that learners use daily for hours. It is based on the idea that subconscious acquisition of language skills is more effective than conscious learning and memorization. This method combines a multitude of new processes which never used for learning languages before, such as special drills for activating right brain processing, priming implicit memory that results in retention without remembering, comprehensible multimedia input, and simultaneous repetition. And here all those numbers are all the references where you can find the more detailed information. Subconscious training is stress-free with no forgetting curve. It eliminates cross-translation and develops the skill of thinking in English and speaking effortlessly. It can be augmented by coaches familiar with the new pedagogy. I ask, can you say more about benefits and hear what it adds? Some benefits of subconscious training in English skills include that it is stress-free with no forgetting curve. It eliminates cross-translation and develops the skill of thinking in English and speaking effortlessly. It facilitates self-training in English skills and can be augmented by coaches familiar with this new pedagogy. The method of subconscious training English skills combines a multitude of new processes which never used for learning languages before, such as special drills for activating right brain processing, priming implicit memory that results in retention without remembering, comprehensible multimedia input, and simultaneous repetition. And if you want to learn more, you can click on this and read 20 other articles on e-learning industry on this field. Paul, I
Um,
think
I, I, I guess what I'm asking for is not um, the overview. Like I understand, like I said, with these different principles and that you're bringing them together. But for example, yesterday, I think you made a statement about it being sort of 5 orders of magnitude faster to take in information in a subconscious manner versus a conscious manner. And obviously, 5 orders of magnitude is absolutely enormous. And so one would expect that, somebody who's obviously, trying to do English or any other task for that matter, trying to take years at it, at 5 orders of magnitude, they would be, potentially taking months or that kind of thing. And then they would be sort of fluent. So I'm just wondering if there are any, case studies or anything that points to that kind of result or who's been through it what were their feelings, that type of thing, really. I'm just trying to understand.
I started with this is invention. Invention is never used before. And that's why what Bing stresses, and I stress many times, it uses a multitude of processes which I brought together and made this invention. I have 2 patents. I understand that you also have 1 patent. I have 2 patents on this. So
Mhm.
to compare, to see, and to try to find a business wouldn't work because I am inventor and I am talking about you with your about my invention. You have to use your brain, your intuition, and just consider all those multitude of new processes and think what they can bring. And whatever I say is actually opposite of what we are doing. You are saying learn and study some phrases as well as individual words. I say opposite. You say fluency is conversation. I say no, fluency is not conversation. By the way, I want to ask you one question. Can you give me a definition of fluency as I did yesterday?
Well, yeah, I think fluency to me is how well that somebody, it's a combination of things. So it's how well that they speak, how clearly they speak, the rate at which they speak. It's a combination of multiple factors that come together to make somebody fluent or not fluent. I think that could include other things like, stumblings, mistakes, how well they get the point across. They're all, in my mind, those are all elements that feed into fluency.
Paul, you are absolutely right describing me the current language industry attitude to it. I had given you yesterday quite a different definition of fluency,
You did.
much more simple and much more clear.
I can repeat what you said yesterday, which was about speaking 2 to 3 words per second, right? But you asked me what my definition was, well, not what your definition was. So I haven't forgotten. I was answering
Okay,
your question.
sure, excuse, then you're right. You're right. But
Yeah,
now let's compare those 2 definitions.
sure.
And I can even show you now how to determine fluency. Do you want to show? Because we stopped yesterday.
Yeah,
And actually, yesterday I didn't show you all 5 drills. And
sure.
there's another component to this application. So let's consider all together and then judge not what is known, what is in industry. I am not a businessman and I am not selling you a business. So I am selling you invention. It's a completely different story. And I am actually not selling, I am giving you for free my invention and even suggest support, free technical support to implement it. Because if you understand all those multitude of new processes, what they can give to adults, then it's definitely worth to do it. Now, let's briefly discover the 5 drills which I mentioned yesterday.
Sure. Yeah.
Drill 1. Do you want to listen to those 5 drills?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Before doing that, let's, because we didn't show you simultaneous repetition yesterday, I want to show it today. I think it will work today.
Sure.
And
That's all right. I know what doing demos is like. They don't always work. So yeah.
yeah, now let's check again.
The Little Prince and the Fox. One day,
One
the
day,
little
the
prince
little
left
prince
his
left
small
his small
planet and
planet and
traveled
traveled
across the
across the
stars.
stars.
He wanted to
He
see
wanted to
new
see new
things and make
things
new
and
friends.
make new friends.
He visited
He
many
visited many
planets,
planets,
but he was
but
not
he was not
happy.
happy.
He
He
felt
felt
lonely and
lonely
sad.
and sad.
Then he
Then he
came to
came to
Earth.
earth.
He
He
landed in a
landed in a
desert
desert where there was nothing but
and
sand and
rocks.
rocks.
He
He
walked for
walked
a
for a
long
long
time,
time,
but he
but
did
he
not
didn't
see
see
anyone.
anyone. He was
very thirsty and hungry. He
He saw
saw
a flower on a hill. He thought it might have some water.
He
He climbed the hill and approached the flower, but the flower was not friendly. It was proud and vain.
It said, "Who are you? What do you want from me?"
I have shown you now that you hear the recording, you read it, follow with your eyes, and speak at the same time. This is the main drill. This is subconscious training or simultaneous repetition, never used before. Okay, never used before. Now, this is the main drill, and now you understand why this drill will stop your cross translation, will stop your ingrained habit of thinking in the native language, because you do 3 actions at the same time. And only subconscious can do it, conscious cannot do it. And so everything else is not possible. Now, besides this main drill, let's consider in a sequence 5 drills. Drill 1. Listen to the lesson recording in the native language with your eyes closed. Listen and visualize the story given. Do it a few times. If you need to see the original text, please feel free to open your eyes. In this manner, you create a video in your mind. The video in your mind is created, you visualize it, and then you work in the target language. But you see the video, that's why it's comprehensible. And you can work and understand it, and you have no problems of repeating, emotionally reacting, and allowing your brain to do the training, to find patterns and make them automatically recorded in your brain, subconscious brain. Drill 2. Listen to the recording in the target language and follow the text without pronouncing the words. Do it a few times. You are prepared. You're preparing it, and because it is pronounced by 30% slower in a special way, you will hear those sounds better. And because you hear them only in headsets, this method is completely excludes any usage without headsets. Everything in headsets, because we have to talk to our subconscious, the brain directly. Drill 3. Do the previous drill 2 again, but you may stop recording at any place and highlight any unclear word by double-clicking on it. A new display window appears at the bottom of the screen where the translation of the sentence with the highlighted word is given in the native language. I want to stress, the translation is given not of the word, but of the whole sentence. Do you understand why?
To put it in context.
Yes, because it should be in context first, and secondly, every word, if you just translate a word, may have 10, 15, sometimes 30 meanings, and to show them all has no meaning at all. We do not react. We erase it immediately. So in this way, if you forgot the word vain, then you will have the whole sentence. It was proud and vain translated into your native language. Drill 4. Read the text in the target language, listen to the recording in an earphone, and speak simultaneously with the recording. First, you may omit some words, but with each consecutive repetition, you will pronounce more words. Do simultaneous repetitions until you can easily repeat all the lesson words. This is the main drill.
Sure.
Drill 5. click the record button and read aloud the text in the target language without listening to the recording. Click on the play button and listen to your recording. If you are satisfied with the recording, start working on a new lesson. You can also click the share button to send the recording to your family, friends, or teachers. If unsatisfied, click the record button again and re-record your reading. Those are 5 main drills which will allow you to apply them to any combination of the target native language. Now,
And in the last drill that you were talking there about recording it so that you could share with somebody else and that kind of thing, so that must be a recording, I guess, without the voice playing.
yeah,
Because
but
otherwise,
listen, that's what I
to-
say.
yeah.
It's written here. I read again. Click the record button and read aloud the lesson text in the target language without listening to the
Yeah, okay.
recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. But here are 5 drills, and there is a very important additional component. You may call it drill number 6, or just consider as a second component about which I didn't mention yesterday, but I will show you it now. This is something completely new, and let me explain this part. The name of this part is Flow Speech Fluency Testing. It's a complete name. You will understand it after the demonstration. And here how it works. You type your name and click on the word go. Here the program is shown, testing. Here is explanation. I click on this and
Drill 10, testing active vocabulary and fluency. Click the record button, then on the execute button, first button at the bottom of the screen. You will see a word selected randomly from the current lesson. Create a few sentences describing something from your experiences, sparked off by the displayed word. Then, click on the execute button to display the next word. Repeat this testing for more than 20 words. Then, click the stop button to finish recording your sentences. To listen to your recording, click on the play button. After completing recording, you may click the share button and send it to friends, or in the case of blended learning, to your teacher.
have you understood what you should do in this drill? Or should I repeat?
No. It's a word is going to appear and it's talk about that word.
Yeah,
basically.
but you do not translate. You do not explain the words. You just tell a few sentences. Let me do the first word, and then please do a few subsequent words, okay?
Sure.
When the door is closed, keep in mind that it doesn't mean that everything is finished. It also means that you have to look for another door which will open another opportunity. So it also depends on your positive or negative attitude. Do you see the glass half empty or half full, etc., etc.? It's non-stop. Then click the next word. This drill appears on demand because I want to not only test your ability to speak automatically. What is great here that each time different word will appear and you will talk automatically. It's not only a game, but it's also a tool to develop automatic speech. So it develops fluency. And it does not ask you to think about it, to remember something, or to be creative. You just practice the target language.
Mm-hmm. And is there effectively a minimum or maximum time that you would expect somebody to speak for, or do they just control that themselves with the record?
There's no requirement because here what it is, you see only the first part. The second part of this drill, we together with you, we should complete it. Because what this does, it records all those conversations. It calculates the time spoken and the number of words said. So it determines exactly in a number your fluency. And so if your fluency is 50 words per minute, it means that you are not speaking automatically. It means that you still are the beginner and you have to continue using this application. And then with time and very quickly, and you do it every day. So you develop it. It gives you the, the assurance that you can do it because it's so simple, it's so easily, and it's so great because you develop fluency in a way which was never used before. Don't look anywhere. And it does not require any more, how to say, proof. I think it's absolutely obvious that in this way, and this is a part, and because I have shown you here the words which appear, and each time they will be different. And there are two options. One, even for the beginner, even for the first lesson, you still can use it because you select words from the current lesson. And if you see there the word hungry, then, and even you're a beginner, but after you have completed the lesson, you can say, he was hungry. He was also thirsty, because that's the text of the lesson. So it doesn't mean that you have to remember something or think about something. It means only that speech is subconscious, automatic for native speakers and for non-native speakers as well. And that's what we do. That's what we try to restore. So if we add this drill to the same application of AI, web application tutor for learning any foreign language, and we can apply it to any language, you understand that we have a complete system which gives you a completely different approach to learning a language, developing fluency, measuring it, and if you develop fluency enough, you can even apply the same application for vocational training, because now you can create lessons on medicine, computers, economics, teaching, whatever you want. and apply the same application and the same subconscious training to be able to acquire that vocabulary in a new vocation, in a new profession.
Yeah. Okay. And so in some of the earlier drills, I think it was drill number 4, where the person was repeating or copying what the phone was saying, so they were trying to speak at the same time or just slightly after. You mentioned obviously having headphones. I presume, and I might be wrong, I presume that's to try and cut down confusion if the brain is listening to itself speaking and the phone speaking at the same time.
No, it's the earphone is needed, because when you use earphone, you first of all, you see more clearly. Secondly, you don't hear yourself, because
Right.
you listen to the recording and you speak without listening yourself. It means that you also do not analyze yourself. You do not
Right.
analyze your speech. So earphone is a must, because when you do it without earphones and you hear just as a background, there were thousands of methods learn English in your car. It's nonsense, because in a way, because you must do 3 actions at the same time. And that's why earphones is an absolute must. In my first, you know that I have an Android application also about which I even don't talk, because it's now already obsolete. It was created a few years ago, but it's already obsolete, because we have now this option. The ChatGPT or generative AI, it's a revolution. It's not revolution, it's a tsunami. And we have to react as soon as possible to use all those options. But it's not only ChatGPT that helps us to create this. As you have seen here, there is a multitude of processes which are used here. Not saying that when you do 3 actions at the same time, your right and left brain are activated. So you are in the best way to absorb language, because you are not on the way. When you are doing it consciously, you are on the way, because your brain cannot participate in it. It cannot find patterns. It cannot remember it. It cannot record it. You are on the way of your own progress.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Interesting. So some of the things, just to let you know, some of the things that we find with the app that we have that's out in the marketplace, when you listen to recordings that people make, they are in extremely noisy backgrounds, especially so if they're more in the sort of Western European or North America, they tend to be in quiet backgrounds. So when you move on to things like your flow testing, you know, the machines work quite well. They can pick up the speech and they can get the number of, you know, words per minute or syllables and that kind of thing, and then try to work out the fluency. But when they're in more Asian orientated countries, we find that people use the app all over the place. They can be literally walking along the road, there are drills going off, there are you know, in the park, there'll be people playing around, because you can hear all these things in the background. And also one of the ones that is very destructive for machines monitoring what's going on is people will even use the app when they have a TV or a radio or something going in the background. And so there's all kinds of environments that we find people use things at. And the reason I'm mentioning this is we know that a lot of people don't use the app with headphones and things. You can ask them to do it, but they just tend to do all sorts of stuff, which can result, I think, in sort of unexpected results when you try to do things like the flow testing and that kind of thing, because the background becomes littered with, all sorts of other noises.
I understand what you say, and there's, such. I recall somehow a sentence: "I can help only to those who want to be helped."
Sure. Yeah, I
It's
understand.
first thing. Another thing, you should also understand that if we decide to go together and create this, we have to create a video. It's very simple, and explain them that this is a new method. You are supposed to do 3 actions at the same time. So you cannot walk, you cannot sit, you can, but it would be not as productive, because to
Yes.
do 3 actions at the same time, you can do anything more. You cannot drive, you cannot walk, you cannot listen, you cannot enjoy anything, because you do 3 actions. We are, as human beings, we are not designed for multitasking. But this is a very special case when we do ask you do multitasking, because otherwise we cannot ensure that your subconscious mind is activated. And to do this, you have to follow our instructions. To create such a video will, I think, resolve all issues which you have.
Yeah, well, I think your sentence of "you can only help those that wish to be helped" is still true, because we find that no matter how many times, I mean, we have, introductory videos. I sometimes even, speak to people about using the app, and they still go do something else, right? But that's life, right? You can't
First,
necessarily.
that's life. And secondly, you must understand that when they embark on this, it's so different that it will act as what is that? A jerk on their mind, on their behavior, on everything will change, because the method is completely different. They will do opposite of what they were doing before. And if they agree, they want to do it, there's billions are trying to learn English. And
Oh,
if you go
yes.
to Quora, you know all the problems. I don't want to repeat it. So if you start it and it completely absorbs your attention, and you see that it completely from the very first lessons gives you immense pleasure, no stress, no feedback. Our feedback is flow test, because that feedback is stress-free. It will just show you at which level you are. So I know that I am a beginner, but I also know that I see how easy yesterday I said 2 sentences. Today I can say 3 sentences on this word, because I should not remember or recall anything. You understand how the world talks about spaced repetition, mnemonics, etc., etc. It's nonsense, because even if you remember, you cannot use it, because recall is so slow that it's not usable. And besides, if you remember it, but you continue thinking in your native language, then it's nonsense again. And that's why Japan, the country number 3 in industrial development, is number 80 at the very end on English proficiency. That's why EF first, they measured for 12 years English
Yes.
proficiency in the world,
Yes.
and it is stable despite billions of dollars spent. So we have to do something different.
So on your point about the when somebody's doing this in a stress-free manner, and like you said, it's becoming pleasurable. Now this is interesting because in a mobile app environment, you're competing against a lot of distractions. So, people talk about gamification and that kind of idea because literally, people will switch off from one mobile or one application to another application. Attention spans are pretty small. So I don't know. What is it, I guess, in the system that you believe is, what would be the right word? Like engaging, that helps keep people there? Because, like I said, that people's attention when it comes to apps is very small. We see it all the time, right? We can measure, like I said, we've got thousands of apps or an app downloaded and used thousands and thousands of times. And you can see that people will be on, or lots of people will be on for a very short period of time, and you only get a small quantity of people who are actually on it, if you like, for a serious amount of time. I don't know if you've had any sort of experience with that. Again, I get your point about the invention, but I just mean in terms of people that have used it and that kind of thing, whether there's any sense of around the engagement and how they feel about that.
Paul, I understand about short attention span, and of course it's a known problem. And unfortunately, we cannot resolve it just in a simple way.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
this application does the best. It does what nobody else is doing now. Why? Because a student is continuously, non-stop working, experiencing a target language which he likes to learn, which he needs to learn, and there is no stop. There is no time when he is listening to the teacher or to other peers. He is doing it all the time. That's why his attention here is actually is in the best way possible. He cannot just stop it and open another attention. He cannot do it because he is already involved. He started to repeat. It's interesting story. He wants to know what is next, and he wants to be able to see. And when he sees from the very first lesson that he's thinking in the target language, that he can repeat it, that he can do it, that he, using our application as a kind of crutches, he can walk in English already. He would not change this application. So his involvement, engagement is the best here because, first, he works with subconscious. And by the way, subconscious doesn't have that problem of focusing or attention deficit. It's the same way as subconscious doesn't have a problem with forgetting. So when you are in the subconscious part of the mind, you have completely different characteristics, and you are a different person. You should understand that this application is unique, and that's why it's not possible to measure it, because it has so many different processes. It would cost millions and millions to measure, and would not be possible because you would not be able to measure all those processes. What we can do, use our brain. What I told you is so obvious, logic, simple, attractive. So what we lose? What we lose? To create this application, in my estimate, would be under 50K.
Well, maybe, but I certainly know from experience that when you go to make applications, the amount of cash that goes into them is way bigger than you think. But you know, that's
It's
there's always
um,
more. I mean, just to take your point about the app you mentioned, you've got an Android app, and they become obsolete very fast. Just to keep running in terms of updating for technological updates, yeah,
Paul, but
honestly,
here we
the
have a
whole
different story.
business.
Never in our life we had application which starts with 0 lessons. Never in our life we had application which develops by using it. Never in our life we had all those processes which actuate our subconscious, and so we behave differently. So everything would be different. And besides, and I do know that you have a specialist, a programmer, a Flutter programmer, and if he creates it it could be used as web application, it could be used on iPhone, on Android, anywhere. So it's unlimited languages, unlimited possibilities, and the best option because it is not coming with the lessons. And it is stress-free. Never. You cannot name any application that is stress-free. They're all stressful.
Sure, and sometimes in things like games or whatever, we look for that stress. So you know, okay. So just so we don't get caught out again, because I've got another meeting coming up around 4-ish. So what is it that you're looking for? What are you trying to achieve at the moment in terms of, you know, like I said, you
What
obviously
I
spent
try to
time.
achieve that because I am inventor. I invented it. I have everything prepared and everything, and I have shown you separate components are in existence now, and especially with your engine text to voice. So what I want is your company, with my help, with my technical expertise, create this application and bring it to market. We will change the way the world really learns languages. That is my objective.
Mhm. Okay. I mean, do you have in mind some kind of model in your mind of how that would work, or what is it that, yeah,
I do not
that
understand your
you're
question. Can you elaborate? What do you mean model? We've discussed now all the elements of this application. It should be created because what I've shown, I've discussed, is are separate models. They should be brought all together as an application. And you create this application with my help, or we both create this application and bring it to the market. All the rest is a matter of a contract. We can discuss the details later. I'm interested in the final.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
create an application with my help and bring it to the market. That's it.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, so let me do some thinking about that, and let me discuss with the team as well. I mean, I think I have an understanding, like I said, of what the different components are, and we could sort of maybe as a team start looking at what would be involved in fleshing that out, and you know what we think the possibilities may or may not be, and then maybe we have another discussion again. Just
Definitely.
you know, think about
I
it.
know that you have Hosseini, you have Sarah, you have, yeah, I
Yeah.
have not many, but you have a team, and that's great. Now, maybe I'll make this video also, and I'll make it now public, and you will share it with your team. So before you discuss, they have to see all those explanations, demonstrations, to have the idea. Because if they will try to understand it or to ask a question, who is using it? Sorry, but I'm always nervous when I hear this question.
Well,
Nobody uses it because it is
yeah.
mine. I am giving it to you. So nobody uses it. You have to decide, do you want it? And the advantages, the benefits are so immense that you will have not thousands, you have millions of customers. Without any doubt, there cannot be doubt because this is the only way to go.
Sure. Well, I could tell you though, when it comes to, and I'm sure you've probably had some experience when it comes to like investors and raising money to build these things and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a very uphill battle to get ideas and concepts across, as I'm sure you know. So yeah, that's
I understand, and
yeah.
that's why I say
I don't dispute
show,
that
share with
you have
them,
to
and
want
then maybe we'll, if you want, we may have a next common discussion with your whole team. It's also possible. So whatever you decide, send me in a message, and I can then schedule the next Zoom meeting with your team, answer the questions, or go into details how to implement it, how to do it. But I don't think there is any doubt left that it is extraordinary potential for 2 billion learners of languages in the world.
Okay, well, great. Thank you very much for your time. And I'll definitely, we'll think and discuss that, and I will come back to you for sure.